Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
Welcome.
So today I've got a new movie for you guys, and this one is actually premiering on HBO Max. It was originally supposed to come out in theaters, but of course, due to the current situation, there is no surprise that it went straight to streaming. And it is the brand new movie based on the famous Rohal Dahl story, The Witches. This is the second time that this movie has been created based on this story, and I have to admit, before I get into this review, that I have never read Roald Dahl's book, nor have I actually seen the original 1990 film with Angelica Houston as the main witch, but when I found out that this movie was being directed by Robert Zemeckis, who is one of my favorite directors, because of course he is responsible for two of my favorite films of all time, and that of course is Back to the Future, and that includes the trilogy, and of course Who Framed Roger Rabbit, also not to mention his Academy Award-winning Forrest Gump, and also the fact that it was written by Guillermo del Toro, who is also one of my favorite directors, responsible for great films like Pan's Labyrinth, also wrote the Hobbit trilogy, as well as, of course, The Shape of Water. So, knowing that these two men were attached, along with a great cast, including Anne Hathaway, Octavia Spencer, and Stanley Tucci, I was very much interested in seeing this movie because of all the great minds and names attached. And a lot of people were already saying that this was okay. It wasn't as good as the 1990 film, and a lot of people felt that it was a little bit of a disappointment. And especially considering that in recent years, Robert Zemeckis has sort of fallen from grace, if you will. He's still been directing, but he hasn't really been making some of those great magical films that he has made in the 1980s and early 1990s. And I am definitely going to agree with the YouTube majority here, as well as other people outside in regards to reviewing this movie, that this movie was just okay. I didn't really feel that it was anything special. I felt it to be a little bit boring at times, but there were still a couple of things that I did enjoy. I mean, I will definitely say that Anne Hathaway, for me, led up to the hype, because she basically stole every scene that she was in. Octavia Spencer has been one of my favorite actresses ever since I saw her in The Help. I'm so glad that she won the Academy Award for that film, and everything that she has done after that, whether it was in movies or appearing in one of my favorite television shows, Mom. I just love her personality, and she just knows how to hit the marks right. I was not really a big fan of the kids. I mean, Chris Rock is even in this film as the narrator of the main character, who is the little boy in this film. And basically it's the story of him living with his grandmother, and his grandmother basically telling him that there are witches all over the place and all they want to do is just kill children. And it just so happens that when she realizes that witches are getting way too close, they go to a hotel, and it turns out that in that exact same hotel there is a big witches convention. And of course you can only imagine, when it comes to anything that is classified as a family-oriented film, what is going to happen. There was a little bit of a surprise in this film after the young boy was turned into a mouse, because obviously he had some friends to assist him. And one of them was his pet mouse, Daisy, who actually is a little bit more than meets the eye. But it was when she started to talk that I was suddenly saying, wait a minute, nobody told me that Kristen Chenoweth was in this film, because it definitely sounded like her. And then, of course, I went right to IMDb while I was watching the film, and lo and behold, there she was, Kristen Chenoweth. What a big surprise. Loved her in this film as the voice of Daisy. Also, we got Alan Silvestri coming to score this film. Alan Silvestri is pretty much Robert Zemeckis' go-to guy. Not one of his best scores, but it definitely fit the tone of the film. There were definitely some moments where I laughed. There were definitely some moments where I thought were very fun to watch, and there definitely were some interesting special effects used, but one of the few things that I was personally noticing was a little bit of a downgrade in regards to the special effects, and that's one of the few things that gets me very nervous for what might be happening moving forward if things with the pandemic don't really let up and the movie theaters don't start opening. I mean, it's great to know that movie theaters at this point in time has officially opened up in New York, just not in all of New York, but they're open, so hopefully new movies will be coming in theaters for people to go and see, provided all the rules and precautions are met. But if it all just ends up going to the fact that movies are just going to be going straight to streaming, there's going to be a lot of downgrading in regards to the budgets, and I don't know really about the budget in regards to The Witches, but one of the few things I noticed was that the special effects were very obvious, they were very choppy, they didn't fit well compared to some of the other great blockbuster films that I've seen, but then again, this is not a blockbuster. But I just did notice the downgrade, and it just makes me very fearful for what's going to be happening with film in general going into next year, provided things don't start getting back to normal. So I'm not going to say that this was the worst movie I ever saw, but it definitely wasn't the best movie I ever saw. I was a little upset just because of all the great names that are part of this film. I was really expecting a little bit more. So I would definitely say if you just want to give your own voice and opinion on this movie and compare it to the book, compare it to the original Angelica Houston starring film, I would say that if you have HBO Max, there's no reason why you can't watch it. I definitely think it's a fun little film for the family to enjoy, but quite frankly, if you want my opinion, if you want to see a great family film that has witches in it, you turn on Hocus Pocus, end of story. So I'm going to be giving The Witches 2 stars out of 4. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss The Witches, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.